One of our traditions at Albertus for our annual commencement ceremony is the delivery of remarks to our graduates. It is my honor to ask Cindi Bigelow, now an Albertus alumna and member of the class of 2024, to return to the podium and deliver the 2024 commencement address. Ms., or rather, Dr. Bigelow, the podium is yours.
Well, I just first want to say to Mark, Vin, and Richard, if I'm allowed to call you by your first names, what a great honor it is just listening to what you had to say and just making me really reinforce how special it is that I was chosen to get to speak to you all today. But besides it being, I'm a crier, so you're gonna have to forgive me. But besides it being a huge honor, it's daunting as well because you've just achieved a tremendous accomplishment. You are graduated from Albertus Magnus, and you can really feel the energy. You can see the smiles. You can feel the pride in everyone, not just you and your families too and your friends. I was here at like 5 of 9 and there were already families lined up in the front there, and it was just so special this evening. So today, how do I add to this moment? How do I share something in my experiences that'll even resonate with you? And to be honest, that you'll even remember, that you can take with you as you move forward today. That's why I decided to visit the school in February, and it was a very cold day in February, to be honest, because I just wanted to see you in your classrooms. I wanted to see the teachers. I wanted to see you in the hallways and just kind of observe really this university at its very best. And so I was just about to walk into my first classroom, and Rosa says to me, whatever you do, don't tell anyone why you're here. And then they open the door. And there I am staring at you, saying, hi, I'm just here to say hi. And I have to be honest, everyone in the classroom made me feel very welcome, and I sat down, and within a moment, I was just part of the class. And what did I see then, and what do I see today? A group of bright, hard-working individuals, and you're about to start on your next journey. Each one of you are going to be on a different pathway. Some of you, as I just heard, might already know exactly what you're going to do. Some of you might have no idea. I'm here to say to the people that have no idea, that's okay too. Because one thing I do know is that whatever path you're on today, there's going to be changes and turns. What I also know is you worked really hard to get in this seat. And as I also heard, you probably had some help from that wonderful family and friends out there as well to get there. So you had some bumps. I know you're also gonna have a few more bumps as you move forward. But today, you have the rest of your life in front of you. And I guess the question is, what are you gonna do to make the most of it? My father just passed away. I knew this was gonna be the hard part. I will pull myself back together. I cried walking down and looking at you. Do you think I wasn't gonna cry up here? Anyway, he was 96 years old. I know, 96 and a half, to be honest. And I realized in thinking about today, some of the pieces of advice I got from him was probably the best advice that I could ever share with you. He was a humble man. He was small in stature. He was quiet, unlike his daughter. But he touched lives everywhere he went. We were all so blessed, everyone that knew him. Oh, look, tissues are showing up here. Oh, God, catastrophe. At least you'll not forget this part of your commencement. But he touched lives everywhere he went. And when I was thinking about today, right, and we all want to be successful. What does success look like? There's different definitions of success. I said to myself, if we could all live a life that had that much positive impact on the people that we met, you know what? Be hard pressed for us not look back on our life and say, that was a success. So I stand in front of you today because today you have achieved success. So what can I add? I can add a few lessons that I learned watching from this incredible man live his life both personally and professionally. First, we are all role models. Each one of you in the audience, no matter where your seat is, you are a role model because you know what? Your actions, they influence other people. That's a pretty powerful statement if you think about it. But the truth is people watch, and therefore they watch you. It's a big responsibility about the fact that you role model for everyone in your sphere, and the truth is you're role modeling past your sphere, your behavior. It creates the acceptable norms around us. I see it all the time in business and outside. And I'm not saying you need to be in a good mood every day, but the fact is how we treat others, what we say, how we say things to people, it has influence. I can see someone when they walk in a room, and I know you do too. And when they're in a bad place, it moves the room in that direction. I also see people when they walk in that really positive place. And I watch them move the room. You know what? You all move the room. Your behavior influences the people around you. You are not perfect. Believe me, I have not perfect covered, but that would be another speech. But your and my behavior, we need to know it matters. That's why I always tell my leadership team and future leaders, like I'm talking to right now, you don't have the luxury of a bad day. Wow, that's a pretty big statement. But think about it, as a leader, if you walk in and you're having a bad day, guess what? That influences everyone around you. Your behavior ripples through. I see it all the time in an organization because it sets the tone. It sets the standard. And again, I am not here to say you need to be happy, go lucky, every moment or whatever, even ever. But I need you to remember the power of your behavior, the power of your attitude. I still remember walking into that classroom, Rosa, and there was a young man who might even be in the audience right now. And when I walked in feeling quite awkward, he smiled at me and he waved. And you know what I did? I smiled and I waved back at him. He made me feel so much better. His positive energy was infectious. So am I needing to say you have to wave at every stranger you've ever seen? No, but I am saying you could maybe smile. It really doesn't matter where you are, whether you're in the office, in school, community, grocery store, it doesn't matter. But you need to remember, people watch you, even when you don't think they're looking. They're watching you. They're picking up from you. It's a massive responsibility if you think about it. But if you think about it, you get to create the space that you want to be in. Yeah, it's hard to wake up every day and say, today, I'm a role model. But the sooner you realize the power that you have to influence, the power you have to set the tone, the stage, the environment that you want to be in, the sooner you have that opportunity to influence the space that you deserve to be in. So lesson number 1 from my father, don't forget each one of you are role models and use that power well. The next lesson, well, I learned it the hard way, and that's the power to be fluid. Life throws a lot at us. It really does, all of us. And I've watched how when things get thrown at some people, it really takes its toll. And I've watched how others process it in a way that, I don't know, they don't come out bitter. They somehow come out better. For that latter, they don't let their problems layer on top of each other. And they don't just say, oh, it's another one, and I'm the unlucky one. Sure, things happen to them. They happen to us all. But somehow, they move through them. Maybe not right away. They have to process through that knock, like we all do. But somehow, they take those lessons, and they're smarter. They're not angry. My sister passed away a few years ago. She had a lot of tough things happen to her. For that, I promise you, there is no doubt. But her issues, they layered on top of her. She didn't take responsibility for anything. And prescription drugs became her solution. I realize the power of addiction. I watch it up close and personal for 40 years. But I watched this beautiful, intelligent, talented woman take everything that went wrong, and believe me, when we start counting, a lot of things can go wrong, and just somehow blame everybody else. Those issues, they defined my sister. That's who she became. Versus my father, who too had some very tough, challenging lessons, especially at a young age. And the impact of those lasted a lifetime, and believe me, they scarred him. But he processed them in a way that what I admired so much, it made him more compassionate, more thoughtful, and even more importantly, more appreciative. He worked hard to learn what happened to him, to take personal inventory when he could. But as you know, many of those knocks you have nothing to do with. But he didn't let them shut him down. And I made a promise to myself that was the pathway that I wanted to take. And I asked you to consider taking that same pathway as well. To move through those knocks is difficult. It is hard work. But if you ask those tough questions, you can continue to grow in a positive way through life. It is hard, as I said, to take pain and make it productive. But if you allow it to be your teacher, it's so much healthier. And the most important part for me is it allows you to continue to grow with an open heart. My final message. Something I watched my father do his entire life. He taught me the importance of lifting the room. What does that mean? It means you're someone who wants to clearly lift the room, lift the people, lift the project. You want to take your skill sets and make everything better around you. And that also includes the smaller engagements, not just the big stuff in life, everything you get involved with. Your mission, you want to make it better. I watched my father live his life that way. It was really reinforced to me, though, when I became CEO of Bigelow Tea many moons ago. I started to really notice and watch and look for the successful people. The people that others wanted to work for and work with. Those that carried community first, they were able to build trust so quickly. They were to get people that wanted to work for them and wanted to contribute. Those that lifted the room had the strongest relationships. They, in my opinion, they stood out. And one more critical aspect of the people who lifted the room, they didn't let ego get in the way. Sure, they're aggressive. Sure. They want to make sure they're successful. They're competitive, but they focused on the community, their coworkers, the projects, the environment, the team, not just themselves. Not just because they said something, they have to win. They constantly took in new information to make sure that they did what was best for the project, mission over self. For all I witnessed, those were the individuals that were invaluable, because you had one of those in your circles. It was infectious, and it left such a positive mark. At least in the business world, the chance of success was so much more potentially possible. And who doesn't really want to have success, to be honest? So for me, those that lifted the room, they were the critical component in the ability to achieve just that. And again, that doesn't apply, everyone, just to your careers. It applies to all aspects of your life. Where my father went, he brought that attitude. It was like a light he brought into the room. And each one of you, you have that light. You have to find it, and you have to use it. So I share with you just a few of the many, many lessons I learned from my father. And I do hope so much that you'll take just a few of the words that I said today as you embark upon your next chapter. As I said, you have your whole life in front of you, and you have the tools to create the space, the heart, and the community that you want, and more importantly, that you deserve. Please take full advantage of that degree, of your natural talents, and make this world a better place. We need you. Congratulations, Albertus Magnus class of 2024.